Shalom, shalom. This is Pushing Standard. I'm help you push the standard, you dig? I have a question for you. Why is it that brown people, or who America call blacks, are so strong? Now I know many of you have plenty of ideas. Many of you have plenty of theories on how the brown people got strong. Well, I want to help educate you a little bit. Now, according to Jasher, when he prayed to Yahuah, I'll get there in a little bit. So there's a lot of studies that went off real quick. There's a lot of studies that went off stating that brown people have strong skin, that they absorb melanin, protects them from the sun rays, and is actually more durable than any other ethnicity. Right? There's a lot of things, supernatural things that has happened, that Yahuah has shown his people that he still gives power and strength to who he will. But just know we have always had power and strength after a prayer. So you can check out this article, right? It's an article of this brown guy saving this person out of a floating water. He picked up this truck and helped this lady out of the water who was because the truck was upside down. Then there was another one who yanked off the door and pulled somebody out of a burning car accident. There's a lot of different ones that he has shown his people that he has given us strength.
With a hero story here at 11, this man credited with saving 3 lives, including his own, after a near-death experience near Malfunction Junction. A lot of heavy traffic going through the area at the time. Fox 13's Marissa Lynn met up with that man who had to make some quick decisions. And Marissa, he was actually able to lift a vehicle off of a state trooper.
Yeah, Chris, the man had never experienced adrenaline like he felt when he saw this trooper pinned to the ground. It all started when the driver of the car he was in suffered a medical episode. Kenny Franklin's trip to work Thursday took an unexpected turn. He requested an Uber driver, and he was off and running. Then he says his driver suffered a seizure while at the wheel on I-4 near I-275.
His foot is accelerating on the gas, and instantly I'm in the back seat wondering, okay, my life is pretty much over at this point.
Franklin was able to safely get the car to the side of the road. He says that's when the driver awoke in a panic.
He didn't know where he was at, so he tried to put the car into a gear. And so he's fumbling with the car.
Franklin jumped out of the car, and behind them was a Florida Highway Patrol trooper, Jack Hypes.
He starts walking up towards me, to assist and assess the situation. And as he does that, the driver mistakenly puts the car in reverse and hits the officer. This side of the car hits him, and his impact was to come over here and pretty much fall over the rail.
Hypes was pinned under the vehicle.
Adrenaline is racing. Your heart, is going a million miles an hour, and all you're thinking about at that time is this needs to end well.
With so much adrenaline, Franklin was able to lift the vehicle off of Hypes. He suffered non-life-threatening injuries.
Get out! We got! Get out! And that's not what I'm saying. What I am saying is, why do you think that brown people are so strong? All right, I'm gonna answer that question here in a little bit. I'm gonna tell one more story. So, I played football. If you didn't know, I was a collegiate athlete. Got cut from CFL and arena, right? But I played football, but I was always the smallest. Even in high school, I was a $138, but I was still squatting and benching way more than my O linemen and D linemen were. And they was bigger guys. These folks walk around 5'11", 6'1", 6'3", you know what I'm saying, 5'7", 5'8", and I was just 5'6". Well, in high school, I was like 5'4" and a $138, So, but I always had this strength. I never understood why. I always ask myself that question. I was like, how these folks bigger than me, but I'm stronger? I was pound for pound in high school, and I was also pound for pound in college. And I played for University of Memphis, number 23.
I know you're probably enjoying the content, but real quick, this is something you should know. The enemy wants this to stay in your family. Cycles, fear, poverty, lack, struggle, sicknesses, diseases, miscarriages, broken marriages. But it's something that you didn't know. The curse that you probably never could pinpoint is in this book right here.
2010, 2012 was my last season. And I was pound for pound in college. Now I squatted 500 pounds, bench 235, vertical 35 inches. My broad jump was 10 feet. My shuttle drill was like 107. I ran a 4.31 in college, right? But there were still a lot of other bigger guys that I was stronger than. That was from the other ethnicities or other nations, if I should say so. Yeah, so to answer the question, now, if you guys are not familiar with the book of Jasher, I will highly, highly recommend you guys read it and check it out. There's some nuggets in there that I think will explain a lot of things that has been taught wrong in today's society and been taken out because Justin Martin said it's not canonized. Right now, this is before his whole life was established, but he decided to say this is not spiritually sound, you know. And everybody been running with it in the Protestant church since. But yeah, so check out the book of Jasher. Now, in the book of Jasher, to answer the question, right? In the book of Jasher, Jacob said a prayer. It said a prayer to Yahuah. And he said, Yahuah, protect my boys, protect my seed. I don't want them to die today. I know they're going to die, but keep them. Don't let them die today. Let them die another time. Give them strength to endure what's coming. Now, backstory. So in this particular moment, right, these folks, all right, it's a part in the in the Bible. I want to say it's in Genesis. In Genesis, right? In Genesis, is a segment that coincides with Jasher. There's a segment when Jacob's daughter got raped by a Canaanite man, and then the guy was like, I want her to be my wife. So he went to ask Abraham, or not Abraham, but the seeds, and the sons plotted against the Canaanite man kingdom. He said, now this is Yahuwah's will, right? He said, tell them to circumcise every man, and then that'll be a sign that you are willing to take on our customs, and you can have our daughter, or you can have our sister. That's what I want to say. Reuben and Simeon and Levi. You know, that's what they proposed to him. But the end of the plot was when they did this, they would go in. They'd go in and they would ramshack the land. They would take all the dudes' heads. They would take all the spoils. It was gonna be so bloody in that joint because now they in pain. And now they can't fight and resist themselves because, you know what I'm saying, they had their foreskins, you know what I'm saying, cut off. Now, for those who don't know what circumcision is when you take the man genitalia and you cut off. It's like a layer of skin that covers the actual head where you pee from. So they cut the rim off of it. I mean, cut the skin off of it, and then it's just, you know what I'm saying, a penis. All right, so they kill him, but them folks are so rising, so angry that this dude had raped a sister. They hit 5 kingdoms. Bloody show. bloody. Like, it's worse than the bloody show. You know, that's what the women call their menstrual, like, or not the menstrual, when they get ready to give birth and their mucus plug come out. It's called a bloody show. But it was way worse. The folks have rivers of blood coming out because they went and killed all the dudes, taking their spoils, taking their women, taking their stuff. They ran through them something serious. And this caused crazy wars that was happening. So they was going to the next city fighting. And then that's when Jacob made the prayer, right? So these folks, when you hear the term, David killed his 10,000, Saul killed his thousands, David killed his 10,000s. Or Shaul killed his thousands, Daud killed his 10,000s, right? When you heard that saying, that was a saying that was passed down through generation to generations, right? That was a saying that that Yasharel, the children of Yasharel of Israel, had so much power, so much strength that it was one dude taking down thousands, 10,000s, 30,000s, even 50,000 men by themselves. It was one dude doing that. And since it was 12 boys, or at the moment it was 11, but Joseph was the youngest, so he didn't fight. But everybody else did. So the other 10 was killing so many people, taking them out like crazy. Like, now with that being said, they was able to bound, like jump on 12 feet gates, or in kingdoms and land. Judah used to yell, Yahuah used to yell, and the ground started to shake. That's how much power Yahuah has given Yasharel. Now, I'm getting to another point. I'm getting to the point here in America. So I'm giving y'all a backstory. Now, these are folks who have E1B1A blood, haplogroup blood type, and from the translated slave trade. These are Shemites that's spread all over the world, not just in America, but all over the world, from north, south, east, and west. These are Shemites, all 12 tribes of Yahuah, right, or Yasharel. And these folks was whooping a lot of people. They was running through the Canaanite soldiers, kings and generals and elite soldiers. Them folks were destroying them people. Really, really, really bad, right? I mean, rough like. And they was beating them up so bad, they had started to get a name for themselves. Now these are Hebrew men. Don't bother the Hebrew men, because their God gave them power. So leave them Hebrew men alone. Leave their daughters alone. Because the God gave them power, right? And so they used to yell, used to have a shaking, used to have vibration in the earth. It used to bring fear upon men. So now in our modern day times, you hear a lot of the church preachers talking about yell. There's a reason for that. But they not knowing that was a word tactic, no one saying, of the flesh, although they're using for the spiritual sense, because also in Psalms it says when you yell, the enemy flees. When you praise Yahuah, the enemy flees. Does that make sense? And it's the same application in the spiritual realm. I mean, in the fleshly realm. So I wanted to just give y'all some backdrop. Now these folks, Levi was throwing them hands. You feel me? Yahuah was throwing them. Simeon was throwing them hands. Reuben was throwing them hands. Issachar, all these folks. Naphtali was the fastest of the crew. Naphtali was the fastest. He was so fast. Now y'all may think I'm out of there, but there's nothing impossible without. There's nothing impossible with Yahuah, right? If you keep that same mind frame. Naphtali used to stand on the corn of on the ears of corn. That's how light he was, but he was so fast. Y'all thought Elijah was fast. He had supernatural speed too. Give it to him by Yahuah to run from them chariots. Naphtali was faster. And, that's why I said, check it out. Check it out. Okay. So let's fast forward to the second point. So this point here is something I wanted to talk about. Modern day Hebrew folk, right? They're still a lot faster and stronger than other nationalities. Still, that's a remedy for that. But I wanted to talk about this particular point. So in the transatlantic slave trade, people are wondering why, like, how they follow Yahuah, right? How they follow Yahuah, and then they get captured, and then they become slaves again. Well, this is why. In 70 AD, they turned from Yahusha. They turned from Yahuah. Like, the tribe of the kingdom of Judah, Benjamin, some of Levi, and Yehuda, right? They turn, and then
Real quick, we got something for you.
You found it very valuable, didn't it? I did too. But check it out. There's a free PDF in the description box below of our mini chapter of our book, Faith and Hardship. Check it out for your marriage, so your marriage can thrive, and so you can continue to beat divorce and separation.
All right, back to the video.
Back to the video. Rome ransacked the place. They ran down to Africa, right? They ran down to Africa. And Africa sold them. Traded with converts, traded them with some Arabic cousins. Our cousins and them traded with you can actually consider everybody cousins for real. The Europeans traded with them folks. Traded with different sects of the European, and that's how we came into America, right? And that not including the Americans that was not including the Hebrew folks that was already here. I'm not talking about them. I'm talking about the one that was on the ship. That's what I'm talking about. But even then, they was powerless. They was powerless. All that strength was gone. But according to Deuteronomy 28, he said he would take their strength. According to Deuteronomy 28, he said he will let them get sick. Like those diseases when they had to come, when we came over and they had to wash that feces off you. You know what I'm saying? Off our ancestors with the whatever chemicals that they use for the bath to get the stuff off the bodies of our ancestors. But they were so weak, or they was brought to a lower place of strength and was captured, right? The power was stripped. You have to think about it. If they did not have the power, if they had the power that they did when they was fighting, Yahuwah's word, you know what I'm saying, would have been a delay to come to pass. But he had to strip all that stuff according to Deuteronomy 28. He said, if you don't do these things, if you don't keep the commandments, I will have to allow you to get sick. I will have to allow your strength to be stripped from you. I will allow you to be enslaved. I will allow somebody else to rule over you. I will allow your butt to be spanked, and all the diseases of Egypt shall come upon you. Now that's crazy. That's a crazy disease. That's crazy. So we came here in America, and you know what I'm saying, there were some fightings, there were some uprootings, there were some things like that. Now, the fightings that happened, you know, like you hear about Haiti, you know what I'm saying, how they stopped being colonized, but there's other places and other people and other groupings that fought not to be colonized, right? But then you have this strength that was a gift from Yahuwah. The strength was a gift from Yahuwah. There's still a remnant of that strength. This is why that the Shemites, or the people of Shem, have their strength, agility, athleticism, speed, are better than others. And it's not saying that we are some great ones, no, because you could have allowed us to perish with everybody else, but because he chose us, he granted us survival mechanics, right? So we can endure the sun, we can do a harsh punishment, our bodies be built up, bodies become stronger, easier, and faster, right? So then so I hear some asking, well, what about in Egypt? What about in Egypt? You know, in Egypt, they had the same strength too. they chose be more docile. They chose that. Again, I'm telling y'all to read the book of Jasher, because there was still an uproar in Egypt when these other Canaanite nations was coming up on Egypt. The Mizraim king Pharaoh, right, or Pharaoh, had told the Hebrew Israelites to help him fight. So after they beat everybody, the Hebrews saw opportunity to take some Egyptians out. I mean, you're not gonna see that. You're not gonna see that in the King James Bible. the modern King James Bible. Now you would have seen it in 1480 though, because it's in there. Yeah. Yeah. So it's I find it very interesting. Very, very interesting. Very, very interesting. So I wanted to bring that thought to you guys, so y'all can have a tickle them brain waves a little bit. The power that we have is given to us from on high. It's not that we are superior than others, although he will make us this way. He will make us rulers over every other nation. Again, he will give us this prosperity. We will have immunity of sickness and disease. Why? Because he'll protect us. But it's only for the ones who's keeping his commands. So keep the commands of Yahuah. You'll get those blessings. You'll get that strength. Not necessarily that strength, but you'll get everything else that's according to the blessings. Now, will he redeem us give us that strength? Only he knows. But the prosperity, the abundance, the favor, the being super healthy, not taking those pills, not being diagnosed with all this craziness that they want to put stipulations on you, doing all these things, so repent for your sins. Doing these will help you. It will help you stay in favor with Yahuah. And that's the reason why the slaves from the translated slave trade was taken hostage and still here and still everywhere else, because they're still slaves in other nations. And everywhere else in the country. The remnant that you see of all Jacob's children, there's still a remnant of strength there. And every now and then he'll use Yahuah to help. Every now and then Yahuah will use his strength that he deposited to reactivate to help save somebody. So I just wanted to give you all that. Again, be blessed. Keep the commandments of Yahuah, and also check out in the description box below. You know what I'm saying? For a faith and hardship, there's a mini chapter that I'm giving away. You can check that out, and it will bless you. It will bless you in your marriage. For those single people who are looking for marriage, and those people who are married and trying to thrive, or balance and married and still trying to thrive, check out that mini chapter. Be blessed. Shalom, shalom. One more point. Kingdom of Yahuah is coming. But for those who believe in Yahuah and keep his commands, those who keep all his commands, they will be considered great in the kingdom. Those who do a little bit and teach others to do a little bit, they will be at least in the kingdom. Those who don't do it at all but believe on Yahushua by himself will not inherit it. Be blessed, because you can't be lawless in the kingdom of Yah. All right?